So this presentation is why no one wants your nonfiction book, the hidden mistakes authors make on their book sales page, and the essential ingredients almost no one else is talking about to make your nonfiction book freaking irresistible. And I am very excited about this training for you guys today because this is something very few other trainers when it comes to authorship are teaching this stuff, and it's some of the most critical information that you need to be successful as a nonfiction author. Now, I'm not going to give a lot of my backstory. Most of you probably already know me, but I do want to share a little bit of the results that can happen when you understand this. So that's a screenshot of my book, 50 Fitness Tips You Wish You Knew. After a recent promotion, you can see it's ranking above The Success Principles by Jack Canfield, above Tony Robbins' new book, Money, above The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It actually hit number 25 in the paid Kindle store, and that's just one book, and that's a recent promotion for a book that was released back in 2012. So when you have a book that is captivating, that is irresistible to people, it's an asset that you can use for the rest of your life. It's not just after an initial launch period. It will continue to sell well, and you can run promotions for it and things like that. So one little take-home point is, even if you have a book you published years ago, you can take some of this information if it's not selling well and repackage it and relaunch it and still have success. There are plenty of authors who've done that. And I'm also taking this information to have multiple #1 best-selling books. And you're going to see how all of this stuff comes together to create some of those results. Now, in case you're curious, well, how do you actually market the book to hit number 25 in the paid Kindle store? Well, there's two components. There's, first of all, the marketing and getting traffic for it. And in this case, it came from BookBub. Now, not all books qualify for BookBub, and one of the reasons is because most authors don't know some of the stuff that I'm sharing in this training. But when you understand how to create a book that a lot of people want, it opens up these doors of opportunity, and that's one of the things that I'm really excited about. So maybe you just treat this as a hobby and you want to make some side income. That's great. You can definitely use this to sell more books. Or if you want to have those massive results like being in the top 100 Kindle store, outranking Tony Robbins or something like that, even for a few days, you're going to learn some of the missing links that you haven't gotten in those other trainings that just focus on getting it in front of eyeballs and don't focus on what's actually there with the book itself and the book's sales page and description. So is that something that's going to be helpful for you guys? I'm just curious. Go ahead and type in the chat box kind of where you guys are at. Have you already published books, or are you looking to publish books right now? I want to get a little bit of feedback before you even get into this training. So type that into the question box. Have you published a book before, or are you just getting into it? So I see that we have some stuff published, already published several books, just starting, would love more details, already published, great. So it's actually going to be, there's an advantage if you've already published books, because that means you're going to take things from this training that you can implement right away today. Wow, 60 nonfiction. There's going to be stuff that right as soon as you're done with this training, you can go and implement it on your book sales page and different things to start implementing this stuff right away. But if you haven't published a book yet, you're going to be set down the right path because you don't have to correct maybe some of the mistakes that you've made. You're going to get starting out on the right foot from the get-go. So why did I put this training together, and why am I so passionate about this? I actually get fired up, and one of the things that fires me up is not like excitement and happiness. It's sadness, it's frustration, it's disappointment. Whenever I get on Facebook, oftentimes, where I see these different groups of, where people publish or post rather their books that they've self-published, and I take one look at it and one look at their book, and I know it's going to fail. And yet they're out there spending money on promotions. They're out there trying to learn this stuff, study this material, and I look, and within 3 to 10 seconds, I say, that book's not going to sell that well, because they don't know what I'm about to share with you in this training. Another thing is, a part of that is Kindle is becoming very competitive. There are so many people now getting into self-publishing. And at this point, it's not, as Steve Scott talks about, like the Kindle gold rush, where anyone can just hop in and publish a book on Kindle and make a lot of money. Have you guys noticed that it's becoming more competitive? You can't just throw a book up there and get a lot of sales. Or maybe even a book that did do well, the sales are dropping off. Have you guys started to notice that? Have you seen how competitive it's gotten on Kindle? Okay? And if you have, then a big reason for that, or a big way to make sure you can still compete is applying this information, knowing how to go into a competitive market, because the opportunity is there, but you have to take it seriously. So this is not for everyone, okay? What I'm about to share with you is only for the people that are serious, who say, I'm going to treat this like a business, I'm going to study and learn the things that I need to learn, and I'm going to make something happen. It's not going to work for the people who want to just throw out some crappy books and expect to make a lot of money overnight. If that ever was possible, that time is gone. So fortunately for you, you're on this training and you're going to get kind of those key elements that you need in place. But I also love people that have a message to share with the world. I got into writing books not just for the money. Yeah, that's great. I love the royalties. I want to support myself with that. I absolutely am all about making money with books. However, I also got into writing after I found I had a message I wanted to share with people, things that were empowering for me, some personal development concepts, some fitness concepts that transformed my life. And I wanted my family, my friends, and other people that I know to have this information. So if you're the kind of author who royalties are, you know, important, but a big priority for you is because you have a message that you're passionate about, what you're going to learn is going to show you how to actually have impact on people. So it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. They actually listen to it, they take it, and they apply it. And I made a note that this is where I continue to invest a lot of my time and energy, and how to have impact with my message. So there's no pitch on this. I'm not selling any other trainings, but I want to be upfront about two things. One is I will have upcoming training going into more details about this. So if you like what you see and you want more, then just stay tuned. There will be stuff down the road as I put more things together elaborating on this stuff, although there's going to be a ton of stuff on this webinar. But the second thing is I have a survey that would be very helpful. So I need your help. If you fill out a survey at the end, it's totally optional. You don't have to. But if you fill out a survey at the end, it's going to help, me figure out how to, what you guys need so I can create my next trainings, know what you find helpful or what I can focus more of my energy on. But it'll also help you, because if you tell me the thing that you need the most, then I actually get to structure my training and emails and different things, giving you specific information to help you with your exact problems. So what you're going to learn on this is, first of all, why making big promises won't work unless you have this particular thing in place first. Words and phrases you can add to your description, this could also be title or subtitle, today to instantly make it more irresistible. The formula for curiosity, which automatically makes people hungry for what's in your book. And a type of book or phrase that will guarantee intrigue. You can base almost any book you write around this one thing and have a winner. It's a proven formula. A simple statement that takes about 10 seconds to say that generates your unique selling points. Now this is key in competitive markets, because if there's a lot of books talking about the same thing, the same overall concept, then what's going to make your book stand apart? This simple phrase will help you figure that stuff out. What to do if you've outsourced your book and don't know how to make it unique. Exactly what to put first in your description in highly competitive markets. And real case studies of what's working and not working. So you can finally understand the psychology behind why things that shouldn't work do, and why some of the things that seem like they should work actually end up failing miserably. So you can use this information for your book titles and subtitles, for the descriptions, the bullet points that you see in the descriptions, the headlines, the way you phrased the book, when you're talking to people about the book. You can say certain key words and phrases that get them interested in going, ooh, I need to find that book, I'll buy it, I want a copy. And then even figuring out if you're looking to publish your next book or your first book, it'll help you figure out what kind of book to write, how to position it so or you have greater certainty. There's no absolutes, but you have a greater chance of success that it's going to become a bestseller. So in order to learn this, take notes. Okay, so if you haven't already, get out a pen, get out some paper, take notes. This is not going to be just a few little tips here and there. This is tons of content, and it'll be, for many of you, the first time hearing some of this stuff. For some of you, if you're experienced in marketing, it'll still be your first time hearing it put this way and talked about in the context of books. Okay, I'm going to check the questions real quick. Make sure everyone's ready, got pen and paper ready. That's awesome. Okay, next thing. The way this training is structured, you're going to get the big picture principles. So I'm teaching you the broad concepts that are foundational to making a book that people want. Then you're going to get the practical examples and case studies. So it's okay if as I'm teaching you some big picture principles, it's a little fuzzy maybe. You're like, okay, I kind of get it, but I'm not sure how this actually applies to books. Don't worry, you know, towards the middle then end of the training, you'll see actual real life books, book titles, book descriptions, author bios, different things that you go, okay, now I see how this actually applies with practical examples. So yeah, I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like sometimes I actually need to see it applied and kind of like in the real world before it clicks. So you're going to get both of that. It'll all come together by the end of the training. But I would highly encourage you, you're probably going to, this will be something you'll watch again at least the second or third time and pick up some new notes and distinctions because there's just that much to it. You're going to see what other authors are doing. Okay, so if you see what another author is doing and it's in a different niche, that's okay. Ask yourself, what's my lesson? Because the principles are universal. So how did I learn this stuff? Well, you know, I didn't start out as like a marketing guru. If you know my backstory, I got my degree in music. I moved out to Los Angeles to pursue, you know, my dreams of becoming a rock star. And I got into publishing as a way of part of my entrepreneur journey. I was working as a valet parker. I was broke. I was, you know, just barely making ends meet. And I studied this stuff. You know, I read some books. I practiced it, but it wasn't a natural talent. My natural talent wasn't growing up as a writer. It was a musician. But I had one advantage, and that is because I like to purchase books and information products. I knew what it was like to be a buyer of the information. So I knew what triggered me to want to buy a certain book. And then I would ask myself, what made me want to buy this book? Oh, I read that bullet point and I was so curious about what that was. I just bought the book to figure out that one thing. Or I read a really powerful testimonial from someone that I trust who recommended this book. So I bought the book based solely on the recommendation of someone else that I like. And as I made mental notes about this stuff as my own experience, that helped me realize, gee, Derek, maybe you should have a good testimonial in your book. Maybe I should have some captivating bullet points. Maybe I should incorporate the same things that made me buy other people's books in my book, okay? A swipe file. Now, if you're experienced in marketing and copywriting, you know what this is already, but if this is your first time hearing about it, a swipe file is a file you keep on your computer, a notepad. I keep notes on my phone. Anytime I see something that, so this could be a book title that I really like, or subtitle. It could be a headline. I'll give you an example. I was standing in the checkout line of the grocery store and I looked at a magazine and one of the headlines, I'm paraphrasing, I don't know if this is exactly what it is, like why you can't fall asleep or something. And I thought that was interesting. It was kind of intriguing. Obviously, it's only relevant for people who can't fall asleep, but if that applies to that target audience, they're going to be really curious and want to read that article. So I made a note on my phone. Connecting the dots a little bit down the road, what was the title of a future book of mine? Why You're Stuck. All I did was take the same concept I saw in a magazine headline, why you have XYZ problem, and just rephrased it into an intriguing book title. Okay? Another thing, I was driving down the road the other day, thinking about giving this very presentation. I thought, I'm going to just look for words that catch my attention. And I go past a grocery store that had a sign that said fresh fruits. And I thought the word fresh was interesting. So I could use something like fresh new phrases to spice up your book marketing campaign. So that could be a bullet point or a headline. The word fresh is just a little bit different in that context. So what we want to avoid are cliches. When people have heard the same thing over and over and over again, they become habituated to it. But if you use interesting words, unleash, enliven, revealing, you know, some of these different words that I notice, I'm like, ooh, that's kind of captivating to me. Captivating is another word that I use a lot. I just get a little file of some of my favorite words and phrases and keep track of it because I know if it grabbed my attention, it'll probably grab some other people's attention, and it gives you some stuff to work with. Interviews, surveys, and eavesdropping. This is how I learn about my target audience. I talk to people when I first started doing fitness stuff and ask them what their challenges were with health and fitness, or sending out surveys. It's a big reason a lot of you are on this webinar. That should be a $47 webinar for $10 because I'm just being straight with you. I'd love to get a survey filled out from some of you. It's that valuable to me. In eavesdropping, I don't mean actually spying on people, but I'd listen to people in conversations when they talk about, oh man, I wish I could get in better shape, but it's so hard because of my busy schedule. Okay, note to self, talk about how you can, solutions for people that have a busy schedule, how they can still cook healthy meals. If I'm talking to authors and I hear authors talk about their frustrations with trying to market their books and they can't find their target audience and where to add notes to that, I'm listening to what people's problems are, because then I can speak to them in my book description, in my book title, in my book sales, and when I'm talking about my book, so I know I'm speaking exactly to what their issue is. And The Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, this is a classic book for product advertisers. I've taken a lot of the information in there and translated it specifically for authors. Now, this is a little bit beyond some of the stuff I'm doing in this training, but you're going to learn about a really cool thing called a mechanism that's going to help you sell more books. And this is powerful things. It's something you've seen before, but you might not have ever paid attention to it. And now it's going to just completely blow your mind, because you're going to realize that this is a thing that's been used so often by marketers, and yet you may have never even thought to use it in your book and in your book title or your book description. And then finally, I spent a hell of a lot of time and money researching and, big thing, practicing this. So you're leveraging a lot of my experience, where I'm taking all this time and energy and I'm just translating it to you in this training. So you might still do more time and money researching this stuff, but you're getting a lot of that given to you. Real quick question I got: how do you organize, consolidate your swipe file? I'm not organized with my swipe file, Mark, so I'm not the best person to ask about that, because I just have multiple files on my computer. One's called phrases, one's called words. I have something, if you check out my product, Hooks for Books, you can see how I organize different titles by different categories and stuff. But I just make sure to keep track of this stuff, and then after a period of time, I kind of go back and organize it. So what actually, I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I will be putting together kind of a swipe file for authors already organized, guys, as part of a different training, but you can learn to do it yourself. And the way I do that is, well, I'll give you an example later in this webinar when I talk about a mechanism, how I would organize a mechanism template. So that won't make any sense right now. I realize that, but it'll all come together. So just bear with me as I get through this. All right, so the disclaimer here, and it's not going to apply to any of you, but I need to mention this. This is stuff that's meant to be used ethically and honestly. So if I'm talking about how to be persuasive, and hey, here's how you can make a really big claim, don't make up a claim that's not true, okay? Don't make stuff up. Don't lie. I might give examples, but they're just examples. What's true for you in your book, because if you lie to people, not only is it unethical, but you actually get worse results in the long term, because you break your trust with people. When people no longer trust you and follow you, then you've just killed the long-term potential of your business. So your foundation. Now we're getting into the training. Be ready with your notes here. Your foundation is built upon one main thing: all the claims that you make about how great your book is. And by the way, a lot of this information is universal for all types of nonfiction books. It will be very specialized, though, to the advice, the how-to type of books, things like how to meditate, how to be successful in business, how to sell more books, how to get in shape, and any of those sub-niches, some degree recipe books. It's not as much for like a memoir type of book. So if that's what you're doing, like a memoir type of thing, I can tell you right now this might not be for you. That's cool. You can hop off the training. I can give you your money back. But if you're more in the nonfiction general realm of books that help people with information, then your book is going to solve a problem for them. Depends on one key thing, and that is believability. And believability has two parts. They have to believe in the claims themselves that they're true, but they also have to believe that the claims are relevant to them as an individual. So, in other words, they're asking, does this really work? Is this true? But then they're going to also ask, does this really work for me? Can I do that? So, for instance, I'll show you how to lose 7 pounds in 7 days, or giving a book marketing example. I'll show you how to sell 100 books by tomorrow, okay, overnight. Now, you might ask yourself, is that really true, or is that just hype? Is that just gimmick? Is he trying to scam me? So they're wondering, are the claims true? And then they're going to work for me. What if selling 100 books means spending a lot of money on advertising that I can't afford? Yeah, maybe that'll work for them, but I don't know if it'll work for me, right? So we're always asking ourselves, whenever we're going through the buying process, you're asking yourself, is what they're saying, is it true? And will it actually apply to me? So would you buy a book that said, become a multimillionaire overnight? And that's all you saw. So how many people on here, I'm assuming most of you wouldn't mind being a multimillionaire, but how many, if you just saw a book that said, become a multimillionaire overnight, yes or no, would you buy that book? Go ahead and type in the question box. By the way, there's going to be a lot of interaction with you guys, so be ready to answer questions and stuff in the question box. So I see no, no, nope. Come on. Who doesn't want to be a multimillionaire overnight? Isn't that all it should take to sell you? Is I'm telling you you're going to be a multimillionaire overnight. Well, here's the problem. If you've heard that before, then you probably don't believe it. And if it's a bigger claim, actually, if it's too big to be true, it's too good to be true. I don't believe it, right? Okay? You have to have that element there. And then, would you buy a book that simply claims it can help you lose weight? And that's all it says, how to lose weight. That's the book title. Now, I don't know if weight loss is your goal, but let's just say how to be healthier. That's the book title. Are you just going to go buy the book that says how to be healthier? Yes or no? Nope. What do you guys? Type it in the chat box. This is very important because you want to go through your own experience. No, no, no. Everyone's saying no. Okay? Now, here's part of the reason for that. And this is common sense stuff. I realize I'm touching on some common sense stuff. You guys are all smart enough, savvy enough to know some of these basic things, and then it'll come together in some very key distinctions as we move forward. And so the answer is no. Why? Because there's so much competition. It's not that of course, you might believe a book can help you lose weight, but there's so much competition. Why should I buy this weight loss book when there's a billion others out there? Why should I buy this book on meditation or on improving my life or on marketing or on business success or on any other topic when there's so many others that are claiming the same thing? There's more competition. Therefore, it's like we become jaded. That's the key word. If your market is jaded because they've heard it all before, it needs more proof. Okay? There's got to be something special, and we're going to get into some really clever ways to give people, I'll give you a hint. Testimonials are one, but you can do something where you don't need a testimonial. You can use the power of words to create this believability. So, ways to increase believability. I gave you an example. Third-party validation. If you have testimonials, endorsements, research. So if I say, Harvard University's new study just shows something about one of the most powerful practices you can use to increase your happiness. Now it's not just how to increase your happiness. This is something that came from Harvard University research. Now I'm more likely to believe it. If it got an endorsement from someone that I trust, if Oprah recommends a book, people are going to trust, buy it because they believe, well, if Oprah says it's good, it must be good. If so-and-so person that I trust gives an endorsement to it, I'm more likely to believe it. If I get a testimonial from someone who says, I went through this book and it helped me, we're more likely to believe it. Credibility now is about the author themselves. Okay, so if the author is a doctor, they have that certification, might be more likely to believe it if it's a medical book, for instance. If the person has personal success, what did I start this webinar with? Hey guys, I just ranked top 25 in the Kindle store, paid Kindle store on a recent promotion. Maybe that's a reason to listen to me, maybe not, but it's better than if I just said, hey, I'm just some dude that kind of is, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'll just throw it out there. No, you're not going to invest your time in that, but if you saw someone had personal success, your success story can play a big role. Well, what if I don't have a success story, Derek? What if I outsource this book or anything else? It's cool. We're going to get to that too. This is just one way of increasing believability. Rapport. We buy from people we like and trust. Have you ever noticed that some people will go to their friends for advice even if their friends don't really know anything about the topic? I see some people, they go to their friends for relationship advice and their friends have worse relationships than they do. They don't go to the therapist or the expert or the doctor or the person who's been trained in this. They just go to their friends or their family, or they call someone that they know to talk about it. And why is that? It's not because this person is necessarily technically credible, but it's because they have rapport, and it's like, I can go to this person and I know that they're not going to tell me something that's not in my best interest, right? So it's not always logical, the decisions we make, the whole buying process, but we will, if you can create a connection with your reader through rapport, they'll be more likely to get it. And celebrity, once again, Not technically credibility, but it gives the impression of credibility. And so a big one, a mechanism or a vehicle. And this will be one of your big take-homes that you get from this training is the mechanism, the power of a mechanism. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. So that's your foundation. You need believability. But what makes it irresistible? What makes it desirable? Okay? So this is the only other, in addition to believability, if you combine believability with desirability, you have something that's irresistible. So desirability is care plus blank equals desirability. And what's in that blank, along with the mechanism, is going to be, I believe, the second biggest take-home point for all of you on this training. Because this is the missing link for most people, and it is incredibly powerful to generate curiosity. Another word for desirability is curiosity, because we're talking about information products. So what people desire in this case is information. So this missing thing will shift everything for a lot of you on this training who haven't been focusing on it. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about what I mean by care. Care means it's going to fulfill me, it's going to help me solve a problem. That's why people are buying a book. And some people, even fiction books, what's the problem? I want to be entertained. What's the problem? I want to learn more about that, right? So how does my life get better with this information? What's the benefit? What's in it for the reader? Now, I think most of you are actually probably pretty good at knowing how to convey a benefit or saying, hey, this book is going to help you in some way. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is this depends on what they think they want, not necessarily what you know they need. And this is a huge lesson for me because a lot of times I look at people and I'm like, what they need is to shift their mindset. What they need is more accountability. But someone doesn't say, I want more accountability. They say, I want to get motivated. Right? So I talk about getting motive to hook them in, and then I educate them on the power of accountability, right? Now, if it's a more savvy audience who knows about the importance of accountability, then I can sell them on the benefits of accountability, right? Some people are like, I don't need motivation, I don't need accountability, I just want to lose a lot of weight, I just want to sell a lot of books, I just want to start a meditation habit, right? And they need that they don't even realize yet. But to market, okay, I don't have enough time to go in depth on this, but when you're marketing, talk to them on the level that they're at. Listen to the words and phrases that they use. If they're saying, if your target audience is saying, I need to get motivated, then use the word motivated, right? Don't use the word accountability. But if they say, I need accountability, then use that word, right? So it's not enough, though, that they care about the information, okay? The examples earlier, how to become a multimillionaire overnight. Most of you wouldn't mind making millions of dollars, okay? You care about the information, and if you believe it's possible, but there's something else, though. Okay, this is the better example. How many people here would be extreme about a training, if I call this, how to sell a lot more books? I'm assuming most of you have some degree of interest in that, right? But on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're on the edge of your seat, oh my God, I can't wait to see the training, how to sell a lot more books. 1 being, I couldn't care less. Where are you going to be at? So type in your answer, 1 to 10, your level of excitement about that. So I see 7, 6. I see 3, 6, 4, 5, 3. Interesting. 5. Huh, okay. So it's kind of middle of the road. It's averaging about 5. If it is, ooh, interesting, if it is new ideas easily implemented, it's a 10. Now, you're hitting on something I haven't gotten to yet. Okay? How to sell a lot more books. That's exactly the benefit that I'm sure all of you want, though, right? I mean, you're all authors here. You know, maybe you want to just establish credibility and have that type of thing. But you want to sell a lot more books. So why is the phrase, how to sell a lot more books, and even assuming you trust me a little bit, that if I put together this training, it came from a trustworthy source, yet you're not like edge of your seat excited about it. You care about the topic, but you don't have that second blank to make it a 10. We touched on something a little bit. What if I said, now, the newest way to sell a lot more books that I just discovered? What if I sent out an email about that or put a training presentation on that? Once again, scale of 1 to 10. What's your level of excitement? Has it gone up a notch or 2? Is it about the same? Has it gone down? Where's your level at now? 1 to 10. 10, 7, maybe 8, 6. Okay, all the numbers have gone up. Well, the benefits stayed the same. Sell a lot more books. Okay, let's go to the last one. The newest book marketing trick that sold 1,328 copies of my book overnight that I've never seen anyone else do. Now, I just made that up, right? But hypothetically, if that were a true thing, and I talked about that, what's your level of excitement and interest to check out that training? Scale of 1 to 10. 10, 10, 10, home run, 10, 10. Okay, so clearly something has shifted between these three things. First one, about a 5 interest. Second one, let's say about a 7 interest. Okay, I'm going to come back to this, but what's that missing link? Let's just even say what's that missing link between the first one and the second one? And it's this. What's the secret sauce? Uncertainty. Interesting word choice. You're going to see how this all comes together. I'm going to backtrack here. If I say how to sell a lot more books, and you guys are experienced, you have some level of experience in book marketing, reading books on book marketing, or going through trainings like this, if this is not your first rodeo when it comes to getting training on selling books, then what happens when you read that is there's a part of your brain that says, I'm interested in that, but there's another part of your brain that, and maybe I already know a lot of that. I might have heard that before. I don't know if this is really worth my time. I don't want to just hear something that I've heard before, okay? But if I say the newest way that I just discovered, I created a little uncertainty, didn't I? I created this sense that maybe I don't already know that. Maybe that's something new. I'm not sure I know that, okay? And it's a sliding scale, right? You're never going to be absolutely certain or uncertain. And yes, this is all about curiosity. So it's a degree. I just increased your uncertainty. And then if I say the newest book marketing trick, 1,328, now I just increase how much you care because I'm giving you a specific benefit and of it, and it happens overnight, so that's increasing your care. And then if I say I've never seen anyone else do this, now your uncertainty just goes up. If Derek hasn't seen anyone else do this, this is like, I doubt I know what it is. Now your certainty is a 10. Your uncertainty rather is a 10, your care is a 10, and your desirability goes to a 10, right? All that stuff comes together. So the take-home point, if you feel you may already know it, there's less curiosity. Very simple. It's common sense when you think about it, and you're going to see how all of this ties together because people are missing the boat because they're not being conscientious about this now. And of course, spoilers ruin the fun of a story because if you know what's going to happen, it takes out the uncertainty. So notice how I left you hanging on the formula, care plus uncertainty. So when I had that care plus blank, was there a part of you, even just a little bit, that was like slightly more engaged, was hanging on a little bit more? Type in the chat box, yes or no. Was a part of you more engaged because you wanted to figure that out? You were uncertain. What is that thing? What is that thing in the blank? I want to stick around at least for a few more minutes to find it out. So I see, yeah, for sure, I was guessing. Great, I was guessing. That's perfect because it gets your brain thinking, the wheels turning. What's the greatest thing you can do in today's day and age? It's get a person's attention. It's like people have such short attention spans that if you have the power to grab someone's attention and engage them, that's going to set you apart. That's your competitive advantage, and that's what you're learning right now. So now that you got the basics, right? Believability, desirability. There's factors within those things, but it's basically two things to sell this webinar because all of you made a decision to get on this webinar. Now, if it was simply because of me and my reputation and your past experience with me, that's believability. I'm banking on the fact that you have some belief in me based on the results that I've gotten and things like that. Okay, I didn't actually do a whole lot to sell the believability of this. I'm just relying on my prior reputation, and that's why some authors can make, sell almost anything because they're using their reputation. So bullet point 1, why making big promises won't work unless you have this in place first. So if that, and it won't be relevant for everyone, but if that was intriguing to you, then it's because you want to make promises that people believe. That's the benefit. And I could also phrase it like why you will barely sell any books unless you have this in place first. So instead of talking about big promises, I get to the end result while you'll barely sell any books, or how to sell more books by making sure this one thing is in place first. I'm assuming you guys are smart enough to put the pieces together and say big promises equal that people believe equal more book sales. The uncertainty, this, notice how I capitalize the word this. What is that thing? It engages your brain. What is it? It gets you guessing. Okay, so by now you should know that that thing is believability. Big promises won't work unless you have believability in place first. Bullet point 2, words and phrases you can add to your description today to instantly make it more irresistible. So the benefit, making your book description irresistible, therefore selling more books. Today, and instantly add to the benefit by making it fast. You can do it right away, okay? And that adds to the benefit. The uncertainty is, what are those words and phrases? I don't tell you what they are. I just say that there's words and phrases, okay? So what are they? What are some of them? So if you want to increase the care, that's how much someone cares about the information. Some examples, okay? Effortless, easy, simple, no-brainer. That first line is all about easy. People care about things that are easy. Instant, quick, today, now. Going back to this example, you tell me, if I said words and phrases you can add to your description to make it more irresistible, I'm sure that would have piqued your interest, but yes or no, is it more desirable when I added in the words today and instantly to say words and phrases you can add to your description today to instantly make it more irresistible? Did that increase your desire, just having those words? Yes, that's what I'm seeing. So that's just words that I added. And these are the words. You can add these words to your description when they're relevant. Once again, don't make it up if it's not true. So instant, quick, today, now. So that's about speed. Then we have effectiveness, the best ways, the top ways, the most effective, the most intelligent. You see this all the time, okay? Nothing new for a lot of you. But then mistakes, failures, avoid, stop, dumbest, stupidest. If I said the 3 stupidest things I see authors do, would that be interesting to you? And if the answer is yes, it's because we want to avoid doing something stupid. We care about not being stupid, right? So that's taking the negative. And then complete, ultimate, total, A to Z guide, whatever it is. We like something that has totality to it. Okay, words for uncertainty. The most common thing you see are the numbered list. 7 things you can do, 15 things, top 3 ways to the numbered list, because a lot of times we don't know what each one of those things are. 50 ways to sell more books. You might look at that and go, well, I know 20 or 30 ways to sell more books, but I don't know if I know all 50 of these ways. It creates some uncertainty. New, unconventional, unusual, different. So I saw in an author bio them saying, so-and-so takes an unconventional approach to XYZ. Now, isn't that interesting? If you heard someone being introduced as, Joe Smith takes a radically different approach to book marketing, and that's all you heard. Yes or no? Is a part of you a little bit curious about, well, what makes it radically different? I wonder what that's all about. Would you feel a little bit more? And I want to hear from you guys. Type in this. This is about engagement. I want to know. I don't want it to just be Derek Defter's opinion. This is not me just making this stuff up. What do you guys say? Yes, yes, yes. What did I do? If I just said, I talk about book marketing or whatever, then it's like, okay, great, you and everyone else. If I say I take a radically different approach to book marketing, boom, 2 words. I take an unusual approach to book marketing. All of a sudden, your brain is engaged, and it's 1 word that's added in there because it creates uncertainty, which adds to the intrigue and curiosity. Another very common words that you see all the time: secret, hidden, never seen before, just discovered, novel, breakthrough, all that stuff will add uncertainty. And then some words and phrases for believability, the mechanism approach, which is coming up. And by the way, that's not, obviously by this point that's creating some intrigue and curiosity by leaving you hanging on the mechanism, but it actually is a purpose for putting it towards the end, because it's much easier to teach with actual book examples, and once we get into some of the book critiques, than it is to try to explain right here. But then also scientific, that's a great word for me. I believe in something if it says it's scientific and if it's researched, but proven, guaranteed, research, time-tested, rock solid, used by thousands or millions. These are things that you can add. If you have something in your book that's been well-researched, you talk about that. If you have 37 specificity, 37 research studies went into this. I went through 138 research studies to provide the information in this book. Boom, people are going to believe it, okay? More likely to believe it. Bullet point 3, the formula for curiosity, which automatically makes people hungry for what's in your book. So the benefit makes people want what's in your book, and it happens automatically. Another powerful word because it means less effort. The uncertainty, well, what's the formula? And it's the same thing as for desirability. Care plus uncertainty equals curiosity. I want to know it, and here's the thing, I probably don't know it. There's a chance I don't know it. Something makes me think I don't already know it. Bullet point 4, a type of book entry. You can base almost any book you write around this one thing and have a winner. Benefit, you guarantee intrigue. Therefore, more likely to get book sales, assuming you're marketing the book and getting it in front of people. That's obviously important. And you can have a guaranteed winner of a book. You're not going to waste your time with a failure of a book. Okay? Type, once again, what's that type or phrase? So there's actually two things I'm going to give you here, but the main one I'm talking about in that bullet point is anything that's contrarian. This means opposes popular opinion. Some examples. New book that came out, The Low Carb Myth. Once the low carb diet becomes popular and becomes a popular opinion that it's going to be effective, someone comes out and says it's a myth, it's going to get people intrigued. Goals suck. Okay, my friend Matt Stone. So wait a second, I thought goals are great. We have all these books, how to set goals, how to reach goals. Then someone comes along and they say goals suck. What does it do? It gets your attention. It's intriguing. The Gifts of Imperfection. Not really a controversial title like some of these other ones can be, but this is, wait, how is imperfection a gift? You know, The Gifts of Imperfection by Brene Brown. And it's an empowering thing, too, if you think about it. Book Marketing is Dead by Derek Murphy. So, again, it's contrarian. Book marketing is dead? Wait, we're all about book marketing. Now you're saying it's dead. You can buy happiness. Goes against the cliche. The problem is you, right? These are slightly controversial. Contrarian and controversial usually go hand in hand, although it doesn't have to be. Point is, it's just different than what everyone else is seeing because it goes against popular opinion. And you don't have to use contrarian ideas in your book title. So I'm giving you book title examples, okay? But you could have a book on, I have a book on fitness, and I can say, 3 why goal setting sucks and what you need to do instead. That could be a bullet point that is intriguing because I used a contrarian idea. I used something that counters popular opinion. So you can use this in your description. You can use it as a headlining. Goals suck could be a headline. Okay? You can buy happiness could be a headline in your book description. Right? Now, I'm not saying copy these actual book titles, but get the gist behind it. So the second approach is a problem-focused thing where it's why authors fail. I don't say how to succeed as an author. I say why authors fail. It's just a different positioning. That's intriguing. I think this is what the article was called, 15 Things You Happy. That became a huge viral article because it's talking about what you need to stop doing to be happy as opposed to 15 things to do to be happy, right? 5 manifesting mistakes. People hate mistakes. So if you talk about the mistakes and avoiding them, why you're stuck, another one of my book titles, okay? So bullet point 5, a simple statement that takes about 10 seconds to say that generates your unique selling points or what's going to make your book unique. So it generates, you notice how I have the benefit, generates it quickly, only takes 10 seconds, sometimes specific. The uncertainty is, well, what is the statement? Here it is. You may know about blank, but what you probably don't know is blank. Okay? This is a thought exercise. You can in a book description or in your book or whatever, but it's to help you generate ideas. So what does my target audience probably already know about, but then what's something that I offer in the book that they don't know? Why are they even buying my book? What am I going to reveal to them? So, for instance, you may know about the importance of book testimonials, but, and this is true, tell me, is this something that would get your attention? You may know about the importance of book testimonials, but what you probably don't know is there's a special personality quality a person can have that makes their testimonials hands down the most powerful. Now, do you guys want to know what that personality quality is? If the answer is no, I'll just leave it at that. But if the answer is yes, I can actually reveal what it is, or we can go on because I'm just using that as an example. But there is actually a personality quality that makes their testimonials more powerful. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses. If I only got a few yeses, then I won't do it. So let's see if there's any more yeses. I'm getting enough yeses here. Okay. Now, most of you on here are experienced authors. Well, here, let me do something else fun. Type in, if someone can guess it, I'll give you a free copy of Hooks for Books. If you can guess it in the next 15 seconds, what do you think it is? What do you think the personality quality is? That would make a testimonial that much more powerful. Relatability, that's a really good one, but that's not the most powerful thing. See, success. So they've had success. Okay. These are all important qualities, but they're not going to make them the most powerful. That relatability and success, that's like your bare minimum. Rags to riches, that's all part of any good testimonial. So these are yeses, but it's not the personality trait. Celebrity, well, okay, so everything that you're saying has to do with the two most effective book testimonials come from someone like ooh, Ed, it's after 15 seconds, but I'll hook you up with something because you got it, you hit it. I'm gonna cover it in a second now. So a person who's just like the target audience, who says, you know, I was struggling, this book was a solution, and I had success, that's a powerful testimonial. Someone who's an authority is a powerful testimonial. I'm an expert, I'm a doctor, and I recommend this book. I'm a personal trainer, and this is a great book for weight loss. I'm a salon owner, tips for beauty secrets. And we got another person who guessed it. Great. Remind me, I'll hook you guys up. Send me an email, and I'll hook you guys up with something. If you don't already have Hooks for Books, I'll give you something else. The people who got this, it's skepticism. Okay? Because a person who says, this is great and I love it, but they say everything is great, that's not as believable. The person who says, I'm skeptical of all these books. I've gone through so many of them. I've tried it, and I bought this book to disprove it, but it turns out I couldn't disprove it because it actually got me results. If you have a mythbuster who says, you know, I think most of these books on this topic are scams, and I can't help it, this book actually delivered. Or someone, here's a very subtle form of skepticism. I don't recommend a lot of books out there on this topic because most of them suck, but this one actually delivers. When you have someone who says that they are skeptical or they don't they're hesitant, they're not the person to just blow smoke. You get the sense this person's not going to blow smoke up my ass. They're going to keep it real. If they don't like it, they're going to tell you they don't like it. They're skeptical in this book. This could be a product or service, overcame that skepticism. Boom. If that's not the most powerful testimonial, it's definitely one of the most powerful testimonials you can have, because it just increases that believability so much more. Okay? Now, I use that example with you guys so you can see how I got you engaged. Now, these are all, you guys are experienced authors, okay, so you have some education level. I'm going to show you kind of how I did that in one of my book descriptions. This is actually the editorial part. But I use something this is advanced, I won't get into all the reasoning for doing this, but I say this, most people know sleep is important to good health. So I'm not insulting their intelligence by saying getting a good night's sleep is important to be healthy and fit, because it's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, I know that. But did you know that one of the best ways to get a good night's sleep is to sleep grounded? Oh, I might not have known that. So you might know sleep's important for good health, but what you probably don't know is the benefits of sleeping grounded. Sleeping grounded will quickly normalize the body's cortisol levels, may help you finally get one of the most relaxing night's sleeps ever, and I give a source for extra believability. Okay, so in this case, I actually kind of write it out in the description. Now, I'm giving them the answer here, okay, but up here, I'm keeping them curious by saying how to get the best night of sleep ever. Tip 5 reveals something. Notice how I don't say sleep grounded. I just say something that modern research has just discovered in the past couple years to normalize your circadian rhythms and help you sleep like a baby your first night using it. Hint, it's not a supplement, creating even more uncertainty. Okay? Now, I didn't have to actually type this out in the book description. The point is, going through this thought exercise, most people know this, but what you don't might not know is something else. Most people know the importance of writing down their goals, but what you might not know is there's a process when writing your goals to make sure that you're more likely to reach them. Most people know that meditation is good for your health, but what you might not know is there's one specific type of meditation that research has shown can enhance your creativity, by XYZ%. And there actually is a certain type of meditation that'll do that. Okay? So you're giving them what they do know, but then you're saying, but hey, here's this other thing that you're going to get when you read my book that you probably don't know. And that's how you create your unique selling points. Now, like I said, you don't have to literally spell it out in your description, but you can write out a bunch of these things as a thought exercise as you're going through your book. Okay? I'm looking through my book on the how to get a good night's sleep. Okay, most people know to turn off the lights at night time because lights will interfere with your sleep. But what you might not know is there's a special piece of software that will dim the lights on your computer screen so it doesn't interfere with melatonin production or whatever, right? So like you unique selling points. Bullet point 6, what to do if you've outsourced your book and don't know how to make it unique. Okay, so what do you do if you've hired someone else to write the book on a topic and they're just going to kind of put something else out there that's maybe similar to what's in the market? How do you make it stand apart? So the care is if you outsource your book, so it's not for everyone, you get the unique selling points. The uncertainty is what do I do? Basically, not a lot of people are talking about this point, so that's what creates the uncertainty. The answer is you ask yourself, and this is true for any author, why did you create this book? Okay, not why did you write this book because you're not writing it yourself. Why did you create it? What was your motivation? Now, hint, if it's just so I can make a bunch of money from people, it's not going to be very effective, right? It's going to be hard to come up with a sales message until you can get on someone else's agenda, until you can get on the reader's agenda. So I outsourced a book of 5-minute paleo recipes. But I can still say I put this book together because I know what it's like to be a busy person, and I have so many people that I coach that are really busy, but they still want to eat healthy. And I believe everyone should be able to, enjoy natural, healthy foods, if they just know some simple recipes that they can make quickly. So I wanted to compile, 50 recipes that you can use. I'm just making this up. 50 recipes that you can use to eat healthy even if you're on a crazy busy schedule, right? And so as I think about that, in the description, I can come up and I can share the story of why I created this. And I don't have enough time to get into all the details about this, but in a more competitive market, your story can be the most powerful selling point about why you created it. So if you're a business owner, which you are, if you're an author, CEO, you might not be the person doing all the work to create the thing, but you still had a reason for creating the business. Now, if it's just about money, interesting personal experience. I actually didn't promote this person's product, but the guy had a product for authors that was somewhat basic. So I decided not to recommend it, but it wasn't a bad product. But it turns out he was, trying to raise money to be with, I don't know the whole story, but like this girl that he loved. He wanted to raise the money and start his business so he could be with his dream girl or whatever. And it's one of those heartwarming stories where I almost just want to help the guy out just because I care about his story, right? And that's the power of empathy and connection. So sharing your story, whether you literally write it out in your book description, exercise, asking yourself, why am I writing this? Why did I outsource this? Who do I want to help with this? Why does the market need this book? That's going to be the thing that helps you come up with your selling points. Bullet point 7, exactly what to put first in your description in highly competitive markets. So the benefit, how do you get to compete in a highly competitive market? Uncertainty, what do I put first? And why might that be different in a highly competitive market? So, let's see, you need to validate, the answer is, you need to validate how the claim works or why people should listen to you. So it's basically believability, again, your why for writing your story behind it. So let me give you an example in a highly competitive market, how to make money online, okay? Jumping into this book is going to make you so much money, you'll make millions of dollars, you're going to start your business and you're going to have all this money coming in. People, if you start getting into all that, people are going to tune it out. They're going to be like, yeah, I've heard it all before. But if I start out back in the day when I released Kindle Bestseller Secrets, how I went from a broke valet parker to a #1 bestseller. And I start out early on. I give them proof of my results, and then I say, here's my story, right? Here's why you should believe me. Before I tell you what you're going to get from all of this, here's why you need to believe me. That comes first in a competitive market. I'm too jaded by all the crazy claims. You got to get, maybe not in the title, maybe not in the headline, maybe not the very first thing, but pretty early on, you need to jump right into why people should believe you. Basically, why should anyone listen to you and what you have to say? You know, after they know what's in it. And this can even be done with a testimonial, right? Instead of you talking about how great you are as an author or whatever, you testimonial from someone that basically speaks for you about how effective and good this is. All right, the final bullet point that I had was real case studies of what's working and not working, so you can understand the psychology behind why things that shouldn't work do and why things that should work fail miserably. So the benefit, the case studies are practical examples, and a lot of people like that. You gain certainty as to why things do and don't work, and the uncertainty is the paradox of things that should work and don't. So if you hear why things that should work but they don't, your brain goes, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. What does he mean? Are you a little bit intrigued by that? Okay, so that creates uncertainty. So is now ready for the mechanism. I'm curious, maybe type in some thoughts. What do you think a mechanism is? You know, when I say it's how it's possible for the benefit, the secret sauce, can anyone guess by giving me an example of what a mechanism could be? I'm curious. Go ahead and type in the question box here. Honestly, have no idea. I guess that's why I'm here. All right, Mark. Anyone have an idea of what a mechanism? Give an example. Let's say it could be a subtitle of a book. You know, can someone provide a subtitle of a book? Just throw out a guess, and I'll tell you whether it has a mechanism in it or not. So maybe it's one book, and you got a subtitle, or even a title of a book. You can type it in here, and I'll tell you whether it's got a mechanism in it or not. It's for your own benefit. I'll throw in another copy of Hooks for Books for anyone that has it, even if you just guess. All right, the opportunity is closing down. If no one can get anything, all right, I'll just jump right into it then. So the mechanism is your secret sauce, and it's what creates believability, okay? Usually has the or and before it, and it's a noun. Let's just look at what this would look like. Super life, the 5 forces that will make you fit and eternally awesome. In this case, the mechanism is the 5 forces. It's a thing that gets you the result of being healthy, fit, and eternally awesome. It doesn't say super life, how to become healthy, fit, and eternally awesome. It justifies how that's accomplished by saying you're going to get that result by using a thing or things, in this case, the 5 forces, the 5 love languages, the secret to love that lasts. Now I think it's probably starting to make sense for a lot of you. It's not how to have a love that lasts, okay? It's not how to have a good relationship, because that's boring, and you've heard that a million times before. Languages. The languages make that result possible. Mini habits, smaller habits, bigger results. The mini habits are the thing, the mechanism by which you get bigger results. 21-day debt revolution, a 21-day plan to get out of debt. Okay? It's not how to get out of debt. That's not the book title. Okay? It's a 21-day plan that's of getting out of debt. It's kind of like a features benefit type of thing, the feature that gets you the benefit. Okay? So if you think about it like that, 101 great answers to the toughest interview questions. It's not how to get a job. It's answers, the great answers that get you past the toughest interview questions that therefore we kind of understand will help us get a job. The confidence code, the science and art of self-assurance, what everyone should know. It's not how to be confident, it's the confidence code. Habit stacking, 97 small life changes. It's a thing, it's a novel idea. It's something that you might not have used before to get the result. The happiness advantage, the 7 principles of positive psychology that fuels. It's the 7 principles, okay? It's not the author's opinion of how you do it. It's these principles. These principles get you the result. It's something external that gets you the end result. Now, have you guys seen that before? Have you seen it all the time? So in the confidence code, what exactly is the mechanism? It's the code. The code gets you confidence, right? And so what is the code? You got to read the book to find out. Now you're a little uncertain. But here's the question that's raised in your head. Maybe I'm not confident because I don't know what the code is. Maybe that's the only reason I'm not confident, is that I was missing the code. No, it is. So now I got to read this book. Damn it. I got to read this book now, right? That's what it does. And that's why it's intriguing. That's why it's engaging, okay? And I would be more intrigued. Now, this book's obviously aimed towards women based off the subtitle, but the confidence code, I'm more intrigued by the confidence code than a book that just says how to become confident, you know, things you can do to become confident. In that case, things become the mechanism. But it's more intriguing because it's like, oh, someone has a code. They have a system. The step-by-step blueprint is a very common example of a mechanism, right? So it's not anything. You may have used this before yourself. We kind of intuitively do it. You've definitely seen it before. Now you have a conscious awareness of it and ask yourself, what's my mechanism? Now I'm using book titles as an example, okay? Keep in mind, you can use mechanisms in your bullet points, in your headlines. We're going to get to this in example. It doesn't have to be in your book title, subtitle. You can start to add mechanism-based bullet points. You can add mechanism-based headlines. You can add mechanisms in anywhere in your book description. You can talk about your author bio, how my life was a wreck, but I found 7 things, 7 principles that turned my life around. Okay? And the 7 principles becomes the mechanism that makes it believable. What about mini habits? What is the mechanism? The mechanism is itself. Mini habits is an idea, it's a concept, a special type of habit. And so you might be a little intrigued by that. Well, what are mini habits? Well, if that gets you reading the description to learn more about it, then you see it. So the benefit is you get bigger results. You know, in this case, let's say a person wants to get in the habit of exercise. The result is they get an exercise shape, but the way that they did that was through using a special thing, a noun, which is a mini habit. Okay? So, book critiques. Now we're going to jump right into this, and you're going to see, who here likes actually seeing real-life examples of books and stuff? This is one of my favorite parts. Who likes actual case studies of books where you can now see this stuff applied, where it goes from kind of like, okay, I get the theory, but it's maybe not totally clear, and now it's all going to come together. Are you guys excited about that? Do you want to see this with some real-life books, especially from some people on this webinar? Awesome. Great. So I think you guys are going to like this as much as I do then. So the first part you're on here, so we have the book, How Bad Do You Want It? The No-Nonsense Guide to Improving Your Life. Okay. So I might do a little bit of surveying on here, because once again, I don't want this to be my opinion, because my opinion, I still am biased. I have my preferences. I come up with book titles and ideas that I think are great, and I run a survey, and most people don't care for it. So I like to run occasional surveys on here. So you just type yes or no whenever I ask some of these questions occasionally. So how many people here, assuming you want to improve your life, that might not apply to everyone, but I kind of hope it does, based off the title, subtitle, and you looking at this cover, how many people here would click on the book and check it out and be pretty intrigued by it? Yes, maybe. And I won't give out your name, so please be honest. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys say. So I see no, no, pricey, maybe, maybe. Love the title, the image is bad. Yes, of course, from Mark. No. Okay, interesting. So Mark, I hope, by the way, is it okay if I be brutally honest? Maybe I should ask this first. Is it okay if I be brutally honest with these book descriptions, you know, for you guys? Because this is, I think, going to be the way that serves you the best, is to be totally honest and take it. So Mark, I know you can take it. You're definitely open to feedback. Because I'm gonna go right into this in a compassionate way, because I want you guys, but I'm not going to hold anything back. Okay, so Mark is a successful author, by the way, you guys, and his stuff is good. But we're getting some of this stuff about no interest. Now, maybe, Mark, this just isn't your target audience. That's fine. I mean, I wouldn't say that I convert at over 50%, even for people that are interested in fitness or whatever. So you're not going to please everyone. That's just kind of the disclaimer. But let's look at how we can make this even. Okay, just starting with the cover. my impression is it doesn't look like something I would actually see in a bookstore, and I'm leaning more and more towards covers that, even if you're a self-published author, make it look like it would be something you'd actually see at in a published bookstore. And not all my covers, readily admit, pass that qualification. But doesn't mean I'm not going to go back and change them. But that's important. And then, how bad do you want it? I remember you actually ran a survey for this title, and this was not my favorite title. Because how bad do you want it? Want what? It's okay to be somewhat vague and then clarify it in your subtitle, which you do. So I'm not saying it's bad. To me, though, it's like it's trying to be a little controversial in your face, but I just don't really care. And then the no-nonsense guide to improving your life. It's a little generic to me. Like, how is this going to improve my life? Because it's a no-nonsense guide. I'm not sold. We're in this self-help field. So I give you credit for going with a question title. How bad do you want it? Kind of maybe a little intriguing, but I'm not totally sold on it. And some people said that they wouldn't really check it out just based off of that. Then we go into the description. Your life is subpar and it's all your fault. Okay, you got my attention because they're saying it's all my fault. Then you say, are you fully content with your life? Do you wish you were happier, healthier, to improve your life before and failed? The answer is yes to these questions. You're not alone. Okay, just from this alone, I'm seeing a disconnect. Because it's like, if someone says your life is subpar and it's your fault, I'm like, if I'm being gracious, it's going to be like, okay, what do you mean by that? you better qualify that statement pretty quickly. If you're going to try to push my buttons and say it's all my fault, but then it goes off on like a little bit of a different tangent. So your life is subpar and it's all your fault. We'll prove it. Okay, so here's what I would do, and maybe in a different context. I might, if I'm going to make a controversial statement, I could say, I think every single person on this webinar is a liar. Now I can say that, and it's controversial, and it might put you guys on edge. And then I say, okay, have you ever told yourself you were going to do something and you didn't follow through on it? Every time you did that, you made a liar out of yourself. You might not have been lying to other people, but you were lying to yourself. Boom, I just made like a controversial statement, but then I justified it, right? And so that's like persuasion, right? So if you want to be controversial, a great person to check out is Larry Winget. He's got a book like Your Kids Are Your Own Fault. He's got some other book titles and stuff like that. So you can check out his stuff if you want to go this. Halfway controversial in your face and halfway not. And so that's the first thing. It's just an incongruency with the headline and this sort of stuff. And there are tons of people in the same situation. There are loads of people out there trying to improve their life, never saw the results they wanted. There are also people trying to improve life that's too lazy. This is all just kind of redundant. I feel like it could be summarized. You have like 4 different sentences saying that no one is fully content with their lives. I have an issue with that statement. Playing devil's advocate, I'm going to play the role of a skeptic and say, no one's fully content with their life. How do you know that? Have you interviewed every single person on this planet? How do you know no one's fully content with their life? If no one's fully content with their lives, that means you're not fully content with your life, Mark. So why should I listen to you? That's me playing devil's advocate. But it's me also being honest about that's what a person could say. They can question that statement. Now, if you said, I've talked to hundreds of people or thousands of people, and I've yet to find anyone that was fully content with their life, that's something that people can't argue against. If you say few people are fully content with their lives, that's a different. People are fully content with their lives, but some people have cracked the code, and it's because they learned the 7 things or the 10 things or the 3 principles or whatever it is I'm going to share with you in this book. Or I wasn't fully content with my life until I discovered these things, right? That's much more persuasive. And then everybody wants something more. And then here's another point. This book will show you how to become fully content with your life. So how can you say it'll show you how to become fully content with your life, but then also say no one is fully content with their life? This is a very logical, like, debate type of thing. Fortunately, most people don't use that much logic when reading a book description and deciding to buy, but it's something to point out. It can be made even better just by making this something that the absolute statement, people can argue against it. It says, this book was improved in the past and how to change that. Okay, this book will show you how to get off your lazy buck and finally work towards a better life. This book will show you how to become fully content with your life. Big claims. What did we learn earlier? How to become fully content with your life. That's a big claim. get off your lazy butt and work towards a better life. These are big claims. So guys, the rest of you tell me, if you have a big claim and you don't have something else, what do you need? What does he need? Yeah. Keep typing in some answers. So I got some answers. What else? Guys, type in, what does he need? Yep. Everyone's got it. They need big proof, proof, testimonials. You're all saying the exact right answer. Why should I listen to you, Mark, if I don't already know you? Now, you'll make some sales, and you're doing pretty well with this, 6,400. You're doing well because of good promotions, and you're doing well because you've established yourself based off of your previous books, I'm guessing, as someone who is trustworthy and credible. So with your existing audience, the brand new audience who doesn't know who this Mark guy is, they're going to look at you and they're saying, this guy's going to show me how to live, how to change my life. Why am I going to put my life in this guy's hands? He's shown me nothing to prove it. If you have testimonials from people, it will work. If I come down here and read your bio, which is all the way down here, then I might believe it if I read your backstory and see how you went through your own struggles and you became, you did years of experimentation and found hacks and tricks, hacks and tips. But that's if you're lucky and they come down here and read this because they're looking for more proof. Why not put the proof up here where they're actually reading it? You know, because you might have lost their here, or you might have lost their attention here before they ever get to that point. So you need testimonials, you need believability, you need to answer why people should believe you. How are they going to get off their lazy butt? Do you have a special system for that? Do you have a mechanism? Do you have 3 steps for that? Do you have a series of questions that they ask? Do you have something that proves that they can do it? Do you have 7 productivity tips that will, 7 life-changing productivity hacks that will get anyone off their lazy butt so they can work, right? You see, you need all that believability is what it's missing. Okay? So awesome, Mark. That's enough for this, but you guys got it. So can you see how a person, Mark, who's a great author and experienced, can you see how I might be looking at some of these book descriptions? And this is just the first one, and go, wow, he's got, a lot of claims, missing that one little piece of proof, of believability, right? And it's going to lose sales. It's going to lose a lot of sales potential simply because it's missing one of those pieces. Now we have how to design TED-worthy presentation slides. Presentation design principles from the best TED Talks. Okay, this book description, I'll tell you right now, is a great example of what to do. A lot of things right, okay? So we see how to design TED-worthy presentation slides is your secret to designing sexy presentations. Extensive analysis of some of the best TED speakers, Brene Brown, Daniel Pink, Seth Godin, Bill Gates. Learn how to breathe life into your slides instead of draining it out of your audience. Great way to paint a picture. Some of the bullet points, the most common mistake most presenters make and how to avoid it. I don't want to make the most common mistake. The one principle that will make you better than 90% of most speakers. Ooh, I want to be better than 90%. Well, what's that one principle? I have uncertainty. What's that most common mistake? I have uncertainty and I have a benefit. Bill Gates' trick for transforming his slides from dull to dashing. Well, if it works for Bill Gates, it'll probably work for me. I want to know what that is. The Seth Godin presentation formula. Well, since I know who Seth Godin is and he's a great marketer, I want to learn his presentation, right? This is really, really good, okay? Now, the title, How to Design TED-Worthy Presentation Slides. If I have one thing to point out, what do you guys think about this title, How to Design TED-Worthy Presentation Slides? What are your thoughts? Is that something that you find like super intriguing, or is it a little boring, or where do you feel? What do you feel about the title? Not unique and catchy enough. Dull. Meh. Interesting. Now I wrote the book. Worthy presentation slides is almost invisible. Okay. Now I'm going to point something out that might be interesting for you guys and a little unconventional, because I wrote the guide Hooks for Books, which is all about creating captivating, intriguing book titles. I actually think this is a near perfect book title. Now this gets into the whole idea why things that shouldn't work do. Why is this near perfect? Because in a very low competition, and designing presentations is not a high competition market. Boring and to the point is great. If there was no other books on how to lose weight, I would call my book How to Lose Ugly Fat, and that'd be it. And then I'd have a subtitle in the description that adds proof and believability, but that's it, because there's nothing else out there like that. The problem is you need to be captivating and intriguing when there's a lot of other stuff out there like that, okay? But if there's not, you get just, you almost purposely are boring, okay? This is a little unconventional, but that's part of the reason for this training, is how to design TED-worthy presentation slides, presentation design principles from the best TED Talks. I do actually have an issue with this title, though. That is, when I look at this, and I'm not commenting too much on the cover. The cover could be improved and made a little more professional looking. But I look at this, and my first thought was, oh, that's cool if I'm giving a TED presentation, but I'm not, so it's not relevant to me. And I think that this is what gave me the TED Talk. I don't know, what did you guys think? Did you guys think this was for people giving a TED Talk, or did you think it was for anyone giving a presentation? I'm curious, what did you guys think? TED Talk, yep. TED Talk, yes, okay. Any, okay. Perhaps just TED Talk. So, okay, so that's some good feedback now. Because I thought that at first too, and then I saw designing sexy presentations. It took me a little bit of looking into this to go, oh, wait a second. This is for anyone wanting to give a presentation, but the information comes from, you know, the best TED Talks and researching that. So that, yeah, getting a presentation good enough to become on a TED Talk. So I thought, at first I thought the target audience was people that either give a TED Talk or want to give a TED Talk. Then I realized, no, this is for anyone that wants to give a presentation. Ooh, okay, so now there might be people, because that just, boom, explodes the target audience. There's a lot of people who might be giving presentations that want to make it intriguing. Even me, myself, giving webinars, I might benefit from this book, but I would not have ever thought that just reading this. So what do you guys think about this? How to design sexy presentations. Then the subtitle mentions something using the secrets of the best TED Talks or using design principles, whatever. But if the title was just how to design sexy presentations, how to design captivating presentations, right? Who thinks that might be a little bit more intriguing? Yeah, okay. Yeah, better title you came up with, less confusing, definitely improved, much better, okay? Right? Because the TED stuff, actually, it's great for, you know, validating the believability of it, but it actually throws it off. So we still want to keep the TED Talk in there. We still want the design principles TED Talk. We don't want it to be the title, though. The title is just how to give, like, sexy presentations or better presentations, you know, something about the presentations in a more generic sense so people aren't thrown off by the TED. You know, there's something interesting. Is it cool if I share with you kind of an advanced tactic that you can use to increase your believability even if you outsource it? I have to get off the book critique for like 3 minutes, but is that something you guys want me to share with you? This is a little bit advanced, okay? So it wasn't originally part of the presentation, but I think that you guys will get this. Okay. Headline earlier today. So this is actually what made me think about it. Hollywood story writer, you know, secrets of a Hollywood story writer for internet marketers. I'm paraphrasing it, okay? So the idea was a Hollywood story writer, like the go-to guy for that, is going to share his secrets for internet marketers and how to apply it to internet marketing. Huh, that was interesting to me. And it relayed this mechanism template that you can use. So get some notes, because I'm going to share with you something. I don't have it in a slide. Secrets of blank for blank. Okay, now let me explain this. Secrets of Hollywood story writers for creating nonfiction books that sell. Secrets of Navy SEALs for becoming a better business leader. Secrets of hypnotists for writing a book that intrigues people or whatever. I'm making it up, so these are not the best things in the world. But do you find how, you know, secrets of Steve Jobs for, 3 secrets of Steve Jobs for growing your business or whatever. How that would be believable simply because you're leveraging the authority of someone else or a trusted figure or a trusted group or something like that. And isn't that what's happening here? I don't know anything, without even having to know about the author and the author's success down here, professional speaker. What I get is this book is believable because the information comes from Brene Brown, Daniel Pink, Amy Cuddy, Seth Godin, Bill Gates. It comes from people that I trust. So if you can say, I research, 10, I could put together a book, and if I've never published a book on Kindle, but I say secrets of, the 10 Kindle authors, revealed or something like that. If I'm leveraging someone else's authority, that's a powerful mechanism. You can even outsource it. 75 entrepreneurs, 75 self-published Kindle authors reveal their best book marketing secrets, or their tactics or their principles. The word secrets doesn't have to be in there, but that idea that you're leveraging someone else's authority. So is that helpful? Kind of having that frame of that. You can even outsource a book and just talk about such and such authority that you're using, 10 of the world's secrets of the 10 elite personal trainers for, rapid fat loss, right? Anyone can do that, right? You can outsource a book. You can do interviews based off of that mechanism. You don't even have to be the authority. Is that helpful for you guys? Is that cool to share that? That's a little bit more advanced, okay? But that's a mechanism that any of you can use. And you can just go out there and you can create a book based off of that mechanism, right? Because Akash doesn't have to be a successful speaker, even though he is. Anyone can study the world's best TED Talks and figure out their presentation. See the power of that? So moving on. How to write and sell nonfiction books for Kindle. Okay? So this is a good example because all of you are authors and you're into nonfiction, I'm assuming for most of you. So Writing Skills Book 1. My thought is this would be a good title a few years back. Now it's a little generic because is it hard to find information on how to write and sell nonfiction books for Kindle? I don't know. When Kindle first came out, maybe. Nowadays, it's old hat. So if it's for an absolute beginner, this could work. Okay, but there's still too much competition for this. And it's actually done pretty well, 186 reviews. So it's done well, it's been marketed well, but I want to see something a little bit more. So going into the description, write and successfully sell Kindle books. So that's your benefit. Follow the author's 5-step blueprint to quickly write a nonfiction book and then publish it immediately. So my first question is, if this is a 5-step blueprint, why is that not in the subtitle? How to write and sell nonfiction, and then 5-step blueprint to quickly write a nonfiction book. Then it has some of these things which don't need to be in here at this point. This stuff can be moved to later on. Okay, because right now I want to know what this book is about, and this is marketing case studies, guidance on mailing lists, writing podcasts. I'm still not sure if this is the right book for me yet. I want to learn a little, before I get all this, I want to learn more about what the book is, because I'm kind of confused. Is this to write a book quickly? Is that what this is about? Or is it writing a book, is there more to it? And then self-publishing, your need to go indie, so this is the benefits of self-publishing. But here's where we get to the actual problem. Worry that you can't write a book fast enough. Write down the words. Problem, agitation, solution. Problem, agitation, solution. This is a classic copywriting formula. Okay? It's not your only formula. Not everything has to follow these 3 steps, but it's a good starting point. That you start with the problem that people are trying to solve, you agitate it by saying, doesn't it really suck that you have this problem? Wouldn't you like a solution? Third thing, boom, here's the solution. It's when you buy this book, okay? But if there's not a little bit of a problem that's identified first, then it's a little harder to sell the solution. So we have the problem statement down in the middle. Worried that you can't write a book. Yeah, I am. Okay, that's a problem. There's not really much agitation, but using the author's 5-step blueprint, you'll quickly learn how to outline, write research, blah, 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 in as little as 72 hours. Now, this to me is interesting. A 5-step blueprint to write, polish, and publish your book in 72 hours. Wouldn't that make a good, do you guys think that would make a good subtitle for this book? 5-step blueprint to quickly write, polish, and publish your book in 72 hours. Who thinks that could be, you know, an intriguing subtitle that could be added in there? Yeah, awesome subtitle, right? Why isn't it in there? There's not even a subtitle in here. And that would, if I saw how to write and sell nonfiction books for Kindle, I might be a little bit like, no. But then if I saw that subtitle, I'd be like, oh, that's what it's actually offering me. I see the mechanism is a 5-step blueprint. Now you'll have that word in your consciousness when you see 5-step blueprint. That's the mechanism that allows you to do these things. 72 hours is specific. I can wrap my head around it. Okay, so then we have the 5 steps. But then now you're published. What's next? Choosing the right category. Now I'm confused again. Is this on how to write a book quickly, or is it on how to write a book quickly and get it published and do all this stuff and market the book and stuff like that? Okay, so if it's a more inclusive book, then maybe I wouldn't have that as a subtitle. It's trying to be a little bit too much all in one. This could be a separate book. Okay, but if you do want to do an all-in-one book, it could be, you know, the 3 core pillars of, you know, becoming a published author. And then you start out with problem 1, worried that you can't write your book fast enough, you'll get the 5-step blueprint. Problem 2, next. Boom, you're going to learn all this stuff. Problem 3, now that you got a published book, how do you get people to buy it? Boom, then you give them all the benefits for that. Okay, so I see this book actually as a 3 core pillar process of getting the book written fast, getting it on Amazon, how to figure out all the categories and the keywords and all that, and then pillar 3, getting it out there in front of people. But right now it's all jumbled around, and I can't wrap my head around what this book is actually trying to accomplish. Okay, how do you guys feel? Do you get a similar impression? I know you might not have actually read through this description as much as I have, but you know, do you feel that what it is, it's jumbled, or are you very clear on who this book is for and what it's about, just based on what you've seen so far? So I get that it's jumbled, needs focus, right? Somewhat confusing. I agree with you, it's kind of all over the place. It could be the complete guide. Thank you, the complete guide. That is actually something I was thinking about, and I would have forgot to mention it. The complete A to Z guide, that's the other subtitle I would have done. The complete A to Z guide to writing, publishing, and profiting with your first Kindle book, because I see this is aimed at beginners. Okay, and then you still want to talk about, here's where the mechanism comes into place. You still talk about the 5-step blueprint to do it in as little as 72 hours. That becomes your headline. Or worried you can't write a book fast enough? Get the 5-step blueprint to quickly write hours. So instead of making it the subtitle, it becomes a headline, or it becomes one of your main points down here. That's why I say all this stuff that I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be a title, subtitle. It doesn't have to be a headline. It could be a bullet point. It could be anywhere in your description. But there's a specific flow that you want to have, and you want to be making these points all throughout. Okay, but it needs to be focused. So that's everything for that. There could be a little bit of believability. You can mention something about, say this, Nancy. Let's see if you have an author bio. I don't see it. The one thing that gives you believability is you have a good testimonial down here. So good call, having a testimonial. Why has my doctor told me osteoporosis? Why taking calcium isn't enough and taking medication is too much, but taking vitamins D3, A, and K2 is just right. I tried to get through it quickly so I wouldn't fall asleep in the middle of saying that. So how many of you, based now, again, a little bit of a survey, would, if you had osteoporosis, and I'll tell you personal opinion, I might check this out if I had osteoporosis, but just based off the title, subtitle, but cover as well, would check out this book. Keyword stuffing title. They gave the answer and missed an opportunity for curiosity. Perfect answer. Too long-winded. Cover is boring. No uncertainty. Suspicious looking. Interesting. Peter, interesting choice of words, because my thought on the cover, I wouldn't have used the word suspicious, but I can see that I'm like, should I, and this actually is a good word for this, should I trust my health, what I'm doing with my health, to someone who can't even get a decent cover on their book? I'm not saying that's how I would personally think. Maybe I would a little bit. I'm saying that's how some people and a lot of people are going to think, and that people are going to judge a book by its cover, and a poor cover lowers believability. Remember that. A poor, cheap cover lowers believability. And when you're talking about health and what you put in your body, and you're making a bold claim like a doctor is telling a lie, I want to know this person kind of knows what they're talking about. And we'll get into that in a second. Title, long-winded, and exactly. You start taking the vitamins D3. You don't have to get into this. They don't need to know the specifics. Taking calcium and medication isn't enough. And what to do instead, or something like that. I'm just throwing something out there. You can mention calcium maybe, because that's a very common thing. Why calcium and medication isn't your answer, and the 5 essential things you need to do instead, the 15 things, or the 7-step process, or whatever, something else instead that leaves them hanging a bit. Now, interestingly enough, I actually really like a lot of stuff in this description. Now, formatting, it could have a headline and some, but in terms of the words, you're concerned about your bone health. You just got your bone density test back. Your doctor wants you to take these medications. You don't understand why calcium didn't work for you. You did what your doctor told you. You don't know what you did wrong. You don't want to fall and break your hip like your mom. This is your answer. It's a little long-winded, but it provides problem and agitation. It's reminding them, hey, you got a problem. This sucks. You don't know why this is happening. Well, I got an answer for you. Based on proven facts and clinical studies. I like that because that adds believability. Harmony reveals the special strategies for keeping your bones strong and healthy as possible, many of which are simply unknown to most U.S. physicians who instead parrot the propaganda coming from their pharmaceutical reps. And then you'll learn the 15 biggest mistakes you're probably making right now that are damaging your bones. Great. Why what you're doing to try to keep your healthy, strong bones could actually be causing other diseases in your body. Ooh, wow. That's scary. I want to learn what that is. The 11 critical nutrients that can make or break your bones. Excellent. How to reduce your fracture risk by at least 60%, specific number. If it were 61 or 62, and if that's based off of an actual study, and you can get 60.34% based on where you got that fact from, even better, right? Wow. Awesome bullet points, tons of uncertainty. Not quite sure what happened in the subtitle there, because clearly the knowledge of how to create intriguing bullet points is there. Now we just need to take more something like this. The 15 biggest mistakes you're probably making right now that are damaging your bones could actually be a subtitle or something like that, right? Because now that's curiosity, okay? But the big thing with this that we lack, and we only get it here, what do you guys think? What could we use more of for a book like this? Okay. Keep typing it in. I'm not gonna read it out until I get a few different answers because I don't want to give it away. I want you guys to tell me what you think this book needs, because we got a lot of uncertainty in those things, in the bullet points at least. We lost it in the subtitle, but we got it in the bullet points, and it's definitely beneficial. Okay. So I'm getting a few different answers, and they're all saying the same thing basically. Credibility, proof, testimonial, needs a mechanism. You know, the mechanism provides believability, but I actually think this does pretty well in that it's a niche topic, Peter, is provided in these bullet points. 11 critical nutrients is a mechanism. 15 biggest mistakes. When it's a thing, that's actually your mechanism for something. How to reduce your fracture. See, there's no mechanism there, but that's fine. You don't always need a mechanism, but the mechanism provides believability, so you're on point with the idea that it needs more believability, which is what testimonials do, which is what proof is, which is what credibility is, especially in something that's saying doctors are lying. That's a bold statement. The doctor's lying. Doctors are experts. Why should I trust Harmony over someone that went to medical school for years? Maybe you're right, but you better back that up, right? That's what I'm going to be thinking. And just simply saying based on proven facts and clinical studies, that might work for some things. And this, I need, well, how many? You know, based on 74 clinical studies. Or, you know, a lot of what doctors are talking about are based on early research. I'm just making this up, but, you know, this would be more convincing. Based on early research studies done in the 70s and 80s, but now as we've advanced in our research, the newest studies coming out in the last 10 years have shown that the old recommendations are wrong. This book is going to reveal what the modern research that's just come out in the last 15 years is showing is the actual way. I be very careful about making any claims of curing something. You don't want to do that. But, you know, helping with osteoporosis or something, you know, what the research has shown can be helpful for keeping your bones strong and healthy. If there was something like that, then I would start to believe it, okay? And Peter, in terms of in the title, doesn't necessarily need a mechanism for this. It's pretty niche, so you don't always need a mechanism, but a mechanism wouldn't hurt in the title. And in terms of definition of a mechanism, again, here's another way to describe mechanism. How to do the benefit. Okay? Now, if you just say how to reduce your fracture risk by 60%, you haven't actually given the mechanism. But if you say a supplement that reduces your fracture risk by 60%, a herb that reduces your fracture risk by 60%, a medical procedure, a non-invasive procedure that reduces your fracture risk by 60%. The 3 nutrients that when taken together reduce your fracture risk by 60%. The 3 nutrients become your mechanism. The herb, the supplement, the procedure, the XYZ, the secret sauce. The reason you can reduce your fracture risk by 60% is because you have the blank. That's mechanism, okay? It's your first time hearing this, first time hearing that terminology for it. You might not get it right away, and I understand that. That's why I'm going through multiple examples, and you'll start to catch it, and you'll start to see it, and shoot me an email, you know, if you have questions. Hey, is this a mechanism? And I'll let you know, okay? So I'm not going to go on much more about this. So that's basically it. So change the subtitle, change the cover, increase the believability, few formatting things. Chemotherapy Relief, another medical book, combating the negative side effects of chemotherapy on skin, hair, and nails, and various debilitating physical reactions to the drugs. Whew, another one I had to try to get through quickly. So obviously I think by this point, goes without saying, this can be succinct. If I actually like as a title, combating the negative side effects of chemotherapy, or how to preserve your skin, hair, and nails on chemotherapy, how to keep your beautiful skin, hair, and nails while taking chemotherapy, or something like that, right? A benefit could be useful there. Chemotherapy Relief, it just restates the title, so we're missing an opportunity for a headline. Let's go with the problem, agitation, solution. Are you scared you're going to lose your skin, hair, and nails on chemotherapy? Are you scared about the side effects of chemotherapy? These are just different examples. Are you worried about the effects chemotherapy is going to have on your skin, hair, and nails? Right? All of those are examples. You start that with a headline. Oh, crap that. So that's your headline. And then it sucks them in. And then instead it says the 3 benefits that can be derived from participating in chemotherapy are curing your cancer, prolonging your life. Chemotherapy side effects are caused by chemo drugs, or at least 24 possible side effects. What I'm reading here is a medical textbook. I'm not reading a book description, okay? And that's an important distinction, especially among people who are intelligent and know a lot about their topic. This is something I had to work through, is that I intellectualize it instead of making it emotional. In book sales description and any sort of sales and marketing, it's an emotional process. It's not telling them this, because here's the thing. They know this. If they're taking chemotherapy, doctors, I hope. Someone didn't just go, oh, let me get some chemotherapy drugs and take them for recreation. They've talked with their doctor, and they know that they're taking it to cure their cancer, to prolong their life. They know that there are side effects, blah, blah, blah. Now, you can remind them of what those side effects are going to do to their physical appearance in order to say, hey, do you not want this to happen? Here's a solution in this book. But you don't need to insult their intelligence by telling them what they already know with this. And it's boring, too. So all this stuff can go. Then we get into the solution. This Booklet provides suggestions for ways to improve your overall health, thus helping you cope with the overall procedure, as well as various things you can do to help your body deal with some of the less serious. Okay. Side effects. Now here we get into actual bullet points that you could use. What to do about dry skin. How to reduce nail damage during chemo. A relatively new help for peripheral neuropathy called K-laser treatments that is a non-invasive procedure as compared with the typical. It's just long-winded, but you guys are smart enough to know now. You don't have to give them what it's called. You leave K-laser treatments a little uncertain. Simply a bullet point that says a new non-invasive procedure for peripheral neuropathy that can be XYZ% more effective, okay? Or that is equally effective, but without the side effects. Okay, that's all you have to say. It doesn't have to be this long-winded stuff. Chemotherapy is written in a straightforward, easy-to-understand language. Not sure I believe that. Not that I'm sure everyone can actually technically understand everything that's said here, but it's written more like a medical book. It's not written in short, punchy sentences. This is a take-home point. This is a lesson for everyone. Guys, I want all of you to get this lesson. Short, punchy sentences, 1 to 2 sentences per paragraph. Written that like a reader can understand it. Simple. Are you scared about the side effects of chemotherapy? Chemotherapy can cause damage to your hair, skin, and nails and ruin your self-confidence. It doesn't have to be that way. Here's a solution. This book will show you, 7 strategies to deal with it, or however many things. And bullet points. Boom. You're going to learn how to deal with the, what to do about the dry skin. You're going to learn a process for reducing nail damage. You're going to learn about a new procedure for peripheral neuropathy. Blah, 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 and you list out some bullet points, okay? So that's how I would phrase this in a very simple thing. Now, of course, once again, I'm not even going to ask the question, what do we need, especially these books, but especially a book on a medical topic? We need proof. Why should I listen to you? What gives you the right? You're telling me what to do with my body, what to put in my body, or how to deal with this stuff. What makes you qualified to say this? Where are your testimonials about people who've gotten relief from this? What are your credentials to teach this stuff? Where does this information come from? What's the research it's based off of? Okay? You don't have to actually list out the research studies, but I'll show you real quick a book of mine, because we're done with this description now. You get the idea. So I'll show you an example of how you can use a research study in a bullet point, and this is something that right here. By changing a single word in one's vocabulary took success in making a healthier choice from 39% to 64% in a research study. Okay? That's clear, tangible results. I could probably have phrased that better. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I say there's a research study that shows you can change one word and you'll increase your chances of success from 39 to 64%. So that's not just something that I pulled out of my ass. I'm basing that off of something. So if you have medical something, just even mentioning it's from a research study or something is good. So that's enough for that. Believability needs to go up. The Modern Rapunzel, Natural Secrets for Ending Hair Loss and Other Miracles. Okay, so I like the picture on the cover. I like the font. I don't like the cover that much. I like the individual elements. I don't like the whole thing. It doesn't necessarily look like something I would see in a bookstore because it just doesn't. You usually won't see a book design, but you usually won't see it where it's just one big picture and then has some text over top of it like that. That's just not how book covers are usually designed. Graphic designers know the technical terms, so I'm not going to try to explain it, but it just wouldn't look like that. So it's not bad. It is an eye-catching picture. Just the way it's formatted, I would have an even more professional design done. The Modern Rapunzel, okay, that's fine. It's a little vague, but you get natural secrets for ending hair loss and other miracles. Okay, I think that's good. But just looking at this description, I don't want to read this because I see a wall of text. So this is simply, it needs to be broken up. Then what we have is written by a woman for a woman. This friendly, lively, spirited book enlightens and educates women on how to have beautiful, healthy hair and abundant health naturally. It's a book every woman can relate to. It's an engaging style, free of complex. This book description goes on to basically self-praise itself about what a great book it is. Okay? Now, what's a better way to start it? You could start it with a problem thing. You know, are you losing your confidence because you're losing your hair? Question mark. Okay. Would you like to finally put an end to your hair loss? Question mark. That could be a headline. You start with a headline. You start with something that grabs their attention and reminds them of this stuff. And I'm just going to do to this about the author section. First of all, I'd rather read this because it's broken up. And then we have this. At one point, the author lost over half her head of hair. Her shower drain clogged with an alarming amount of damage, fallen hair, and her brush looked like a matted wig. She panicked. Great emotional language. Determined to find the answers to her hair loss and damaged hair, she pursued her own path to discovering the most effective natural solutions. Being chemically sensitive, she refused to go the toxic chemical cure route. Not only did she learn how to grow her hair back, but how to make it much thicker and lusher than before, naturally. The modern Rapunzel was born with a great deal of care. Okay, so you get the idea. Now, when I talked earlier in this presentation about having your why or writing this is an example of that perfectly. Why did you write the book? Because at one point I lost over half my head of hair. I panicked, but I didn't want to use chemical solutions, so I searched for a natural solution, and I found it. And because I know that hair is one of a woman's most assets, I now want to share this message with the world that there is a natural solution. This right here is the better book description. You can literally copy and paste this and stick it up here and it'd be 10 times better. Okay? Now, so I would literally do that. My whole thing, you know, I would start out with a headline, you know, are you scared about, you know, worried about losing your hair, you know, whatever it is, and then you go into your story, and then you can add in some benefits. So, you know, this will show you 3 products that you can use that'll help thicken your hair, blah, blah, blah. You can go into some bullet points and maybe some more specifics, okay? I don't know what that is for you, though, based off this book. The other thing that I was thinking is this description is talking about what a great book this is. I think readers are saying the modern Rapunzel is the best book on hair loss they've ever read. It has it all. Now, what do you guys think? Are you going to believe it because the person writing this description says so? Maybe. It's better than nothing. But when I'm reading something that says readers are saying it's the best book on hair loss they've ever read, it's a friendly, lively, spirited book, you can't market your own stuff nearly as well as someone else can. So I thought, man, what this needs is testimonials from people who've used this. If people have actually said that about this book, I need to see a real testimonial from a person, right? Well, luckily, the author actually has testimonials. Here we go. I'm an advocate that meet the purity of your approach. Your book saved me 40 years of research into health and beauty, so a big thanks. In my practice, I work with patients to achieve the kind of truth and empowerment that is core of what your book is about. From a doctor of osteopathy. Now let me ask you guys, could that testimonial alone probably do more to sell you than this whole description? Type in the chat box. What do you think? Do you think that's powerful to sell the book? Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot more powerful when you have a doctor of osteopathy saying it saved them 40 years of research. In my practice, this is the kind of treatment I recommend. That's a lot better than saying some people have said it's the best book they've read. Who are these people? Oh, doctor, an authority figure, okay, and it's in their own words. So much more powerful. It's kind of like show, don't tell. Show through the testimonials, not through you saying it. We have all these great testimonials that could be in the book description. This book is the best thing I have found. I love the fact that you mention products by name and brands, so I don't have to guess and research for products. That's great, and you don't have to use this. You can take those first 2 or 3 sentences, and that would sell me on it. Oh, this product, it mentions the actual products by name and brand. That's the selling point of the book, that it mentions the names and brands. So that the features that mention products by name and brand, and what's the benefit? So that's feature, benefit. I don't have to guess or research your products. Could you have a bullet point that says, you know, get the exact brands that you need to restore your hair so you don't have to guess and search for the solution. I've already found it for you. That's a bullet point. That's a selling point. That's something you can talk about in the description. Or, even better, simply use this testimonial and have someone else say it for you. This book can use. Otherwise, I think it's you know, great if you just, I mean, you don't have to, this is an example of a book that The author doesn't have to come up with new stuff. Can you see the power of just knowing this information? You don't have to come up with new stuff. You delete that, you copy and paste that up there, you copy and paste that over there, you add in maybe a headline and formatting stuff, and in 20 minutes you have a book description that's 10 to 100 times better. But you have to know this stuff, and you have to know what you need. So, wow, there's a lot of stuff in this presentation, obviously, but we're wrapping it up now. So those are the book critiques, and I know that's a lot of stuff. So, look, I get you're not going to get it all. You're still going to have some questions. It took me a long time to wrap my head around what a mechanism was. As I'm studying, I read it. I read multiple articles on it. I'm trying to figure it out. Like, that's fine. You have this webinar. You can go back and watch it. You have your notes. But I'm going to break it down into 4 things. Only 4 key points that you need to take away, that you realize that this is what a prospective book buyer is asking themselves. Okay? So out of all this stuff, almost 2 hours of training, all comes down to 4 things. They're going to ask themselves, do I care about this? Is this something I want to know? My mom's not going to buy a training on how to sell more books. She doesn't care. A person who is an author is going to care. So what's your target audience care about? 2, do I probably already know this? And it's a probably. There's no absolute certainty or uncertainty. It's a sliding scale. So do I probably already know this? And if you think that they don't, and here's the thing, you always offer a unique perspective. Or you can make it simpler, or you can organize it better than the competition, or you can do something different than your competition. They're going to ask, do I probably already know this? And you, as the author and as the writer, are you giving them a sense that there's some things that they should be uncertain about? It's kind of an interesting way of looking at it. They're going to ask 3, does it work? Become a multimillionaire overnight. I'm skeptical. I don't think it works. So does it work? And how do you back it up? We talked a lot, a big theme of this, believability. I need proof. I need those testimonials. I need some sort of credibility. I need to know why I should believe you, and does it work for me? Okay? So that's something we actually didn't get into as much, but if I say, I'll show you how to lose 7 pounds in 7 days, they're still going to ask, well, does it work for me? What if it requires counting calories and giving up my favorite food? You know, you might be asking yourself, well, is this going to be time consuming? Is it going to be expensive? Is my book going to qualify? You're going to have potential concerns about whether it applies to you. So do you address those concerns in your description? 4 things you walk away with that you're hitting on. So if you know that they care about it, but they might, if you look at it and go, well, maybe they feel like they already know it. Maybe they don't feel like there's enough proof or evidence for it. And you guys are all giving the right answer, so you're really close to it. So you get it and you're smart enough to realize this. Now it's either looking at it yourself or having someone like me